Today I basically want to build with the people about a science called the 7 hermetic laws. And basically, you know, I'll be dropping these posts on Facebook, and I'll be building and communicating with the people that's interested in some of the things I'll be saying or the science. And people was, expressing to me the frustration because they're very intelligent and they know certain things, but it felt like certain things was just missing within their form of knowledge. So I was explaining to them, a person that been doing this for over 20 years, that there's a science called the 7 hermetic laws, the 7 laws of nature, written by William B. Chandler, the 7 hermetic laws by William B. Chandler. And I was explaining in one of the other posts, previous posts, that about a guy named Tahuti and how great he was. Tahuti was one of our ancestors that lived way back in the days, and he's responsible for basically everything you see because he's the one that's brought reading and writing to our people, to the civilization. He the one that, was the scribe, the chief scribe that was writing on the hieroglyphs or the stones in Egypt, all over Africa, and tablets and things like that. And he wrote 7 laws. And the 7 hermetic laws, and the reason why they call them hermetic is because hermetic is a Greek word, or Hermes. That's another name they used to call Tahuti, Hermes, or Toph. But the reason they don't go back further, because then they have to give him an African name, and then that insinuate him with us, and they don't want to do that. So we're going to go a little bit deep today, and this is a Kemetic science. This is what they call Egypt today, science, ancient science, that they suppress and try to hide from the people. But these 7 hermetic laws, if we understood these 7 hermetic laws, then we can bring forth a certain energy in the way we live as a people, our culture, in our daily lives. So to get to the 7 hermetic laws, the first law in the 7 hermetic law was mind. And he began to explain the science on the mind. And basically, he was saying the mind was the all. And all came from the great mind. The second law was correspondence. And correspondence basically means so it is above, so it is below. The third law was vibration. And basically what he was saying in that axiom or law was that everything vibrates. Everything comes from vibration. And when you really look at that, it's deep because vibration plays a part in everything. It's what makes sound. My lungs got to be vibrating at a certain frequency for these words to be coming out at you. For one, a machine that builds a building, the machine got to generate a sound. A generator makes sounds to turn on electricity, sound. So vibration brings forth sound, and it vibrates. Let's give you a little science on that. The fourth law is polarity. Everything has 2 sides. There's one side, there's the other. Everything has 2 sides. There's one side, there's the other. That's the 4th law of polarity. The 5th law is gender. Out of the 2 sides of polarity, you choose good, bad, positive, negative, day, night, male, woman. So it's the opposite on the same line of polarity. That's gender. That's the 5th law. The 6th law is equilibrium, the balance of the gender. If the gender is balanced, it'll show in the equilibrium, which is the 6th law of the hermetic laws. The 7th law is cause and effect. What comes around goes around. Some people call it karma. What you do will have an effect in one way or another. So these 7 laws, when you dig into them, and this is the basic information I'm giving you, you will start understanding the order and what it is the way you're supposed to think. You will start understanding the order in the way things evolve or come into existence. And this is the reason why it's important. Now let's look at the first 3 laws. The first 3 laws says mind corresponds to vibration. Now when you look at that, how do the mind correspond to vibration? That means if I chant a sound or say some type of at a high and resonate a certain frequency, that it can have effect on your mind, on one's mind. That's why certain sounds drive certain people crazy, because they can't take it. So if we was to understand the science of sound, there's certain energies and frequencies that you can tap into that would affect a person's mind. This is the science that they don't want to teach us. This is the science they don't want us to get back to. This is the science that we knew. You hear stories about in the Bible where Moses has said a few words to a couple of Egyptians, if I'm not mistaken, and they died because he knew the sacred words to say to them. And the sacred words was not even words, but it was sounds. There are certain sounds that has an effect on the body that could turn a person sick. And these are called frequencies. If you chant certain sounds, again, it could have effects on the mind. So then we got to understand that this is the science that we're supposed to be studying and getting back into if we want our powers. When I studied the story of Toussaint Overture in the Haiti Revolution, when they went to war, and Toussaint defeated the French, when he defeated Napoleon, and they tell you stories about how they were doing voodoo. See, they make voodoo a bad thing to us and make us want to stay away from it because they understand that this is the energy that they can't control. And if we use it, it could be very effective. So they taught us or conditioned us or trained us to believe that it's a bad energy. But they called it voodoo and they gave it a bad name and we didn't even call it that. But there was an energy that was said that Toussaint Overture used in, how can I say this? He had some help. Let's put it like that. That came and helped him defeat the British, the French, and I believe England. But my point is that if you understand the vibrational frequencies, if you understand these laws, so it is above, so it is below. You know what I'm saying? And you understand that the mind corresponds to vibration. And then it steps into polarity, which shows you the line in between. So that's why they say good is bad, because it's on the same line of polarity. When you step into gender give it an identity, the identity to where you can express what's the difference between that and it. And then you step into equilibrium, which is the balance, because it could be off balance, but you balance it with the equilibrium, which is the 6th level of the 7 hermetic laws. And then the 7th level is cause and effect, and that's the 360-degree circle. What comes around goes around. So when the ancestors dropped these sciences, or dropped this science, it was the information to help us, to guide us to be in tune with the laws of nature. So these 7 laws that he left behind was very important. I want to say this. This guy Tahuti, he got a lot of information out there that they suppressing, they holding, but they letting it come out slowly but surely. He's responsible for reading and writing. Go do your homework. This guy, this being, started reading and writing. He got some tablets. They call them the Emerald Tablets. I'm studying them right now. These Emerald Tablets is deep. He got the Emerald Tablets. He got the 7 hermetic laws. And the Emerald Tablets alone, let me explain something about the Emerald Tablet. The Emerald Tablet alone, when he talk about the halls of Amiti, in the Emerald Tablet, he talks about the ship that's underneath the Great Sphinx, how you get through it through the Queen's Chamber. He talks about things that they suppress, that they don't want the average people to know. This is the information that we got to go back to and start studying. We got to go back to the Kemetic science. We got to go back home to Africa. You know what I'm saying? If we want to know the answers to the missing information that'll help us grow as a people, we're not going to find it in America. We're going to find it home. So we got to go back there, excavate, start digging up our own information and studying it and translating it. So I'm just giving you a basic information of the 7 hermetic laws in the order in which he gave it, in the order in which we're supposed to receive it and think it and use it. And you will see powers that I can't see.